Welcome to video 5. Today you will learn one of the most important concepts in automation, data mapping. In this video, you are going to learn how Make passes information from one module to the next. Understanding this skill unlocks 90% of Make.com. Let's dive in. Many beginners struggle with Make.com because they fail to understand how data flows through the platform. This misunderstanding often leads to insufficient or broken workflows, causing frustration and abandonment of automation efforts. So in this video, we are going to ensure that you understand what data mapping actually is and how you can successfully move data from one module to the next without breaking your workflow. Now, what is the power of data mapping? Once you master data mapping, Make.com becomes a powerful tool. Mapping allows you to seamlessly transfer information between modules, unlocking 90% of the platform's capability and enabling you to create complex, efficient workflows. Let's define data mapping. Data mapping is the process of transferring information from one module to another. You take data from, let's say, Airtable base. You move the data to, let's say, ChatGPT, so as to create content around the data you have. So this idea is called data mapping. So this involves taking output field from a trigger and placing them into the input field of another action module. This ensures that data flows smoothly through your workflow. In Make.com, you can modify data while mapping. Let's say you have a text and you need to reduce the content of the text. You can actually modify such data. You can also combine different data like text, numbers, and dates just to use them to suit your use case. Also, you can format or transform values using functions. So all this you will learn over time in this course. Colored bubbles as variables. In Make.com, colored bubbles represent variables. These bubbles are automatically generated from the output of previous steps. By dragging these bubbles into the appropriate fields, you can map data without writing any code. To understand this better, let's move into Make.com so I can explain what data mapping is and how you can easily move this data from one module to the next. Now we are in Make.com and this is a scenario that was built previously. Now we want to see how data flows from one module to another module. The first module here is an Airtable trigger. It triggers when there is a record in the Airtable base. So once such a record is found, it will help us list out the data from the Airtable base. So if I try to run this module, just running this module alone, it will return a set of data. So this data can be found in the output. As you can see here now, we have this bundle which is containing all the data that is relating to the Airtable base. So remember, the Airtable base is to pick just a specific row. So this row has an ID of 2 and it contains this information: status, topic, result, language, voice model, and so on. So this data can be used as you want at any point in this scenario. So to use this data, what we need to do is to try to access it from another module. Now let's try to use a module like ChatGPT here. So if I click on this ChatGPT, I can see the setup for ChatGPT. So you can modify any aspect of this module. So now what we actually need to do is to see how we can use the data from the Airtable module. So to do that, if you look at this test content, this is where we are typing some content. So anytime you are typing, is either you are using manual values or you are using dynamic values. So all what I have here are manual values. I type them based on what I want to input here. So they are not going to change. They will remain constant. But whenever I need to pass in a data that will change, I will need to be passing a dynamic data. And these dynamic data are data that are gotten from a previous module, like this Airtable module here now. So the data here will always change whenever I run this module. So now, how do we use this data? Let's look at this second part here where we have this second test content. The topic of the video is this. Now, the topic here is supposed to be dynamic depending on the output we got from the Airtable module. So this way, we can now map the data. So if I click here now, you will see that I have this pop-up. So from here, I can see the data from the Airtable base. I can easily map this data to this field. So to do that, let me just try to clean this up. So we can see that there is no more topic there. So what we need to do is to map the topic from the Airtable records down here. So all I just need to do is come here, see the topic. This is the bubble. So you can see that it is colored based on this module we have here. So from this bubble, I can just drag it and place it where I need it. It is outside, so I just need to readjust it. So I drag again and place it in between these quotes. Now you can see that I've successfully mapped the data down to ChatGPT. So I can do the same thing for language. Clean this, look for language, map this language down here. That's what data mapping is all about. So this way, I've successfully moved information from one module to another module. Save this. So that's it. Very easy. Visual connection of data. The visual nature of make.com's interface makes data mapping intuitive. You can see the connection between modules and easily identify where data is being transferred, making it easier to build and troubleshoot your workflows. Let's go back to make.com to explain this clearly. Now, if I click on ChatGPT again and move down to where we had the topic and language. Now, what do you notice? This topic had a number, which is 1. This 1 here indicates that it is from this module. As you can see, the numbering 1. So if I close all these, you can see that each module has a unique number assigned to it. So whenever you are doing data mapping, you will see that as you are mapping a data, it is being mapped with the unique number of the module. So that way, you can easily trace where a specific data is being used from. So if I come to Facebook, for instance, and I try to edit one of these fields, now you can see that we have data from Airtable and data from ChatGPT. So you can use the data as you please. Now, ChatGPT is having a unique value of 3 in this case, and this 3 is already attached to this variable we have here. So this description. So that's how you map data. Now let's look at the types of data. There are different types of data. We have the text data, which is basically strings. We have the numbers, we have dates, and we have arrays and objects. Now let's look at these guys one after the other. Text data. Text data in make.com is used for names, descriptions, and other string-based information. It often requires parsing to extract specific parts or format it correctly for downstream modules. From the information we had here previously, we can see that this topic here is simply a string. As you can see, how to turn failure into motivation is just a string. It is a test data. So this can be modified whichever way you want it. You can decide to check for the length of the string of that topic, perform different actions as you require. Numbers data. Numbers are used for calculations, comparison, and counting. They need to be handled carefully to ensure accuracy, especially when performing mathematical operations or setting conditions. So you need to be careful when you are dealing with numbers. Sometimes you might see a number of 5, which is not actually a number, but a string. So when we come to a use case, I'm going to explain that clearly. So you need to know if you are actually having a number or it is just a string. For example, you can have a string 5, which is a string but not a number. So you need to know when something is actually a number and when it is a string. A number will always be written by itself, 5, but a string will be written in quotes. So you need to be very, very careful. Date data. Date requires specific formatting to ensure compatibility across different modules. Make.com provides functions to manipulate and format dates, making it easier to work with time-based data. Arrays and objects. Arrays and objects are more complex data types. Arrays store multiple values, while objects group related data. These types often need iteration or extraction to use their data effectively in workflows. Let's look at this second ChatGPT here. One thing you will notice is this. This tags here is an array. So we are expecting that this ChatGPT returns both description and tags. The combination of this description and tag is giving us an object. So this tags here is an array. We're expecting that ChatGPT returns description, which is a text, and also returns tags, which is an array. An array is a collection of different items as seen like this. So that is how you identify objects and arrays. Let's try to run this module and see the kind of output it gives us. Run this module only. I'm going to pass in the topic, this, and pass the language. So if I click on OK, the module is going to run. Now the output here is what we are concerned about. In the output, you can see this result. Once I drop this result down, this result is a collection. A collection is simply an object. So this object contains different items. So we can see the description and we can see the tag. So this tag here, you can see that it's already written that it is an array. So when I drop it down, I see all the values inside this array. This description can be mapped to another module. These tags can also be mapped to another module. So that's how you know objects and arrays. Now, what are the kind of mistakes you need to be aware of? The first thing is to always inspect output bundles. Always inspect every output bundle to confirm that fields contain the expected values. This step is crucial for catching errors early and ensuring that your data flows correctly through the workflow. We just ran this module. One of the things we were expecting is description and tags. To confirm if the description and tags were actually returned, we are going to check the output of this module. This output is under result. Now, when I click on result, I can see that yes, I'm actually having the description and I'm also having the tags. So it means that the expected values from these modules are actually being returned. So that is how you always check if you are getting the right values or not. Also, when I try to edit a module and I try to access data from other modules, I can always see that their values are displayed alongside the modules. So I'll always check if this value actually corresponds with what I am expecting or not. So once there's any discrepancies, you can always correct it. So always ensure that you check and see if the data you are working with are actually the correct data. Use run once. Utilize the run once feature after adding new modules to catch empty or malformed data. This helps you identify and fix issues before they cause larger problems in your workflow. So this is simply telling you that whenever you are adding a new module, you always run it. You can see we've always been running a single module to see its expected output. So same thing you'll be doing to check if a module is returning what it needs to return or not. Lastly, map only necessary fields. Map only the fields you need to keep your scenarios lean and efficient. This reduces the risk of errors and ensures that your workflows remain streamlined and easy to manage. So guys, we have come to the end of the video. You are now confident with data mapping. In the next video, we will explore error handling and execution logs, a must-have skill for fixing broken automations. I'll see you in the next video.